If you feel like you're working harder than ever but getting nowhere, like you're paying for everything but you have nothing to show for it, this is the financial reality of Gen Z. From student loans that feel like a life sentence, to subscriptions that lock us into endless payments, to the housing market where owning a home feels like a distant dream, Gen Z is caught in a system that's designed for us to keep paying but never actually own anything. In this video, I'm going to explain why Gen Z is stuck in a cycle of paying forever and how we're being set up for a lifetime of financial struggle with no real prospect of ownership. One of the main reasons Gen Z is entering adulthood with major financial burden is due to the scam of student loans. Many young people are starting their adulthood and careers with huge student debt, which is limiting their ability to invest in assets such as property. Many Gen Z have fallen victim to what is known as the interest trap. As inflation has risen, so has the interest owed on student loans. For example, the UK student loan repayment interest has soared to 7.3%. If this was a standard bank loan, this would be illegal, and many mortgages on houses with so-called high interest rates are much lower than the interest being charged on student loan repayments. This just goes to show the sheer lack of financial regulation in the student loan sector. And the rising interest on these loans is a trap, because many young people are just paying off the interest of their loan and not actually reducing the debt. For example, there was a case in the news recently of a student who borrowed £44,000 to go to university. He has repaid back £7,000 of that since graduating 4 years ago. You would think that he had now managed to reduce the debt at least by a little bit, but paradoxically, he now owes £54,000, £10,000 more than when he left university. And this just goes to show how the student loan system is a scam. Many Gen Z, when they took out these loans to go to university, had no idea about the financial consequences that they were signing up for. Many people didn't know that the interest builds up on these loans so much that it far outstrips your ability to repay the loan. So unfortunately, many Gen Z graduates are stuck paying a large proportion of their salary towards their student loans repayments, but they're only ever going to be paying off the interest and not actually reducing the student loan amount. The financial instability that student loans are going to cause young people for many years to come is having a major impact on their ability to own a home. Sadly, for many young people, the dream of owning a property now seems far out of reach. We are in a major housing crisis where property prices have soared, wages have not kept up, inflation has pushed up the interest rates on mortgages, and therefore owning your own home has become impossible. Gen Z are the generation that are going to be trapped renting forever, but the rental market is also out of control. Rents have become wildly unaffordable in the last few years, in a lot of cases taking up over 50% of people's salaries. For example, you've got studio flats in London that are renting for over £2,000 a month. That's more than the average person's monthly salary. Unaffordable rent prices coupled with low salaries that haven't kept up with the cost of living means that many Gen Z have no hope of saving enough money to be able to own a property one day. As if young people trapped in a perpetual cycle of rent wasn't enough financial burden, we are experiencing a shift from ownership to subscription models. This is happening in all areas of life, from software to entertainment to even fashion. Older Gen Z will remember CDs and DVDs when we owned physical copies of music and film. Then we saw a shift to things like iPods where we would buy singular songs. But nowadays, there is hardly any possibility of owning your own media. Everything is a subscription service, whether it's Netflix, Spotify. Even most software companies like Adobe have moved to subscription models now, rather than the one-time purchase system that they used to have. Now, you might be thinking, what's wrong with subscriptions? It's actually really convenient and offers a lot more choice. However, this is known as the illusion of ownership. Subscription services are creating the illusion that you own your media and your data, when actually you don't own anything at all. And nothing is permanent and could be taken away from you tomorrow. For example, your favorite feature on a piece of software you've been using for years, or photos that you upload to cloud storage, could all be gone tomorrow. Nothing is permanent when you don't own your assets, and that became particularly apparent during the threat of the TikTok ban. Thousands of people across the world, particularly in America, depend on TikTok for their careers and their income. Banning the platform could wipe out creators' careers overnight. But there would be nothing they could do about it because they don't own the platform. They just simply rely on it for their sole income. The rise in popularity of buy now, pay later schemes is also entrenching Gen Z in even more debt. It's extremely worrying to see how many young people are normalizing making multiple big purchases using buy now, pay later schemes. For example, in the UK, many people have a fancy car on their drive, but they haven't actually bought that car outright. They've put it on finance. People also book expensive holidays that cost thousands of pounds and put it on finance because they can't actually afford it outright. These buy now, pay later schemes are pushed onto you everywhere you go. Even in clothes shops, you want to buy a simple t-shirt and you have the offer of paying for it later. Or you buy yourself a new bed, you can also buy it on finance and pay for it later. These finance schemes will keep many people poor forever because they are locked into spiraling debt, and therefore the financial burden of repaying what are essentially loans keeps many young people from ever owning anything tangible because they're always paying for it, and at any moment if they fall behind with the payments, the bailiffs could be at their door to take it away. Gen Z's out of control spending habits and the pressure to have nice expensive things that you can't actually afford can be attributed to the influence of social media. Influencers and celebrities have been pushing overconsumption and unattainable lifestyles for many years now, and many people feel like they have to keep up with trends. Many influencers do daily hauls of expensive items or go on expensive holidays, making Gen Z feel like they have to have the same or else they've failed in life. The pressure to always have the latest items has taken its toll. Although influencers flashing their lavish lifestyle can inspire some young people, it's pushing many Gen Z into debt in order to keep up the same luxury lifestyle that they see online. Social media is therefore a huge culprit in creating false aspirations and ultimately derailing Gen Z from their long-term financial goals. The dire financial situation that many young people are in today is not actually their fault. One of the contributing factors is the sheer lack of financial education. Many people are not taught real financial skills in school and are therefore left to navigate the complex economy by themselves in adulthood. Poor financial literacy, a lack of transparency around loans and interest rates, coupled with the readily available buy now, pay later schemes and subscription models, has led to a disastrous, bleak future of ownership for Gen Z. Constantly paying for everything but owning nothing has really taken a toll on young people's mental health. And with low salaries and no prospect of young people improving their financial situation, this has led to increased apathy among Gen Z and a term known as quietly quitting. Gen Z owning practically nothing is the dystopian reality we're now living in. Although there needs to be a push for better financial education and we should be encouraging young people to consume less, ultimately Gen Z are going to be burdened with student debt for a very long time to come. House prices and rent prices don't seem to be coming down anytime soon, and wages certainly don't seem like they're going to increase either. If we want to have any hope of owning assets in the future, we need to fight back against subscription models, save as much money as we can, and also try to increase and diversify our sources of income to fight against inflation in order to one day be able to own a home, but this is easier said than done.